Hello, good afternoon, good day, everybody. Welcome everybody on our first webinar of 2020. As it was announced, we have some topics today. And before we start, I would like to introduce you our team. These presenters will be Tibor Major. I think you all know him because of MobileNAV, but you might not know Bertalan Nagy, who is responsible for the sales and partner management. So please welcome him on board. He's in the team or in our company for many years, but last year he joined to the MobileNAV team and to our business unit. So yes, and you might also know me. I'm Robert. I joined around 2 years ago to MobileNAV team, so I'm here and I'm responsible for sales and marketing. So you can have your questions to me and to our team anytime. Let's see our topics today. Of course, the main topic will be about MobileNAV, and Tibor will introduce you the latest news about the product, about what we release soon, about versioning. But I don't want to talk about this because Tibor will welcome Tibor on the virtual stage, and I will be in a listening mode. Thank you.
And I switched to presenter because it's not a secret. All of our colleagues in the team are working from home, so we are not in the same place at the moment. So welcome everyone. You already know me, I assume. My name is Tibor Major, and today I would like to introduce you our new features, what we are planning to release. So yeah, let's start. Before we introduce you the latest features, I just wanted to give you just a 1 or 2 minute recap about the latest release, which was 4.10 back in last October or November. The biggest features of 4.10 was, first of all, the availability in App Source. MobileNAV is part of the App Source since last summer, basically. And we already had our first implementations on the SaaS world, so we collecting new customers there. That's a new area for us, and we are not just introduce MobileNAV in the App Source in the English language, but thanks to our partners, to you basically, we could introduce other language translations for the add-on as well, which is now part of the normal release process. So you can also enjoy it on the on-prem installation as well as the BC SaaS installations. And we are planning to also extend that. So if you want to see MobileNAV in your country, then you are welcome to provide a translation, and we can make part of the product. We have introduced the smaller features with 4.10, like import-export device settings, which is very, very useful for diagnostics and bug reporting, because every time you report a bug, we normally now asking for exporting the device data, the app data, the so-called export app data, that is available if you log in into the application. You go to the settings, and there is a button. And that basically extracts all the relevant information like traces, settings, everything, which we can restore on our machines, and then we can easily or more easily find the problems what you might experience. But the biggest feature of 4.10 was the Universal Platform client, which is basically a new client for MobileNAV, and the introduction of Xamarin platform. And yes, of course, together with the App Source release, we also had to make ourselves compatible with version 15. Okay, about our new release. So what news do we have for you? I will talk about changing the versioning of our software, because we basically got rid of 4. something. I will speak about that, and then, if you may remember or you may participated in that, we had a possibility a couple of months ago to propose new features, and we also made a voting with the new features and the new ideas, and then we have basically made our new version scope based on the voting by the partners, by you. And I would like to also just briefly talk about the AL development, because AL is now more and more relevant. Yeah, to be honest, with the documentation and support, we are a bit behind of the schedule, but we are planning webinars about AL development over MobileNAV, so I will just briefly cover that area as well. And the planned release date for the new version is end of May. Maybe it will have a couple of weeks delay, but around end of May or beginning of June, we are planning to release 5.0. So first of all, versioning change. Basically, we got rid of 4. something, so we didn't want to introduce 4.11 now. So we have decided to basically change our versioning scheme. So now every new major release, just like with any other product, we increase the major version as well. So now we are releasing 5.0. After that, the next release will be 6, 7, etc., etc. So that will be might be a big change for you, but basically this doesn't affect the MobileNAV licenses. So if you have a license for 4. something and that is working, then it will be still work with the 5.0 or 6.0. You don't need to reapply for a license. Okay, and let's see the voting and the proposals. You can see a quite big list here. If you have participated, then you already know about these ideas. And we have basically created something like a nice diagram which shows the result of the voting. Yeah, it's not a secret. We basically took the more interesting ones from the list. Yeah, and of course we have also taken some others which were not that interesting, but it was easy to make, like hide all from the main menu. So there are some exceptions, but basically the idea was to listen to our partners and implement those features which are very, very interesting for you, or at least you have voted them up. And I would like to also take this opportunity to really suggest to listen to our news, because we are also planning to do that with the next round. So if you may have missed this opportunity, then next time please propose features and also vote for the features, otherwise we can't hear you. So what is the 5.0 scope look like? You can see the list here. It will go up, and I would like to also speak about them one by one in more details, but very quickly. So we will introduce quick edit and quick actions on list. We will also introduce opening a list from a list directly without showing the header card, which might be a bit annoying when you don't need it. We have introduced the quantity increase on repeated scanning. So if you, for example, opening a card and you scan the same item cross reference number multiple times, then we are able to increase, for example, the quantity in the card automatically. We have also introduced the ability of printing multiple labels at once. So now we'll show you something like a print dialog where you can specify which printer you want to print to, what should be the number of copies, and whether you want to make it default or not. We will basically hide the all from the home menu. We will also see this later on. We have further improved the field control. We have already implemented Open Card, which was basically able to open a card with the specified keys or filters. Now we have also introduced Open List, which can do the same basically. Yeah, and the rest is, yeah, I will also talk about them. I don't want to have too much details, but you will also see it later on. So quick actions and quick edit. It's not a secret. It was the biggest challenge for us in this release. Basically, the configuration of quick actions and quick edit is very, very simple. So basically, you will see a new Boolean Boolean field on the configuration for each and every field in the MobileNAV page configuration, which called quick edit or quick action. And if you enable it, then you will see that the client will respect that, and on the list you will see extra possibilities. For the quick edit features, each feature you can enable one editable field. So basically that's a restriction. You can only highlight or enable one editable field for quick edit. For quick action, you can have multiple ones, so that there is no restriction like that. So you can have as many as you wish. You can also select drill down buttons or function buttons. And what we also enabled is not just to have something like a shortcuts on the list for editing and the function or drill down selection, but we also enabled multi-selection. And I will try to demonstrate that in a couple of seconds from now. But with the multi-selection, you can also execute or modify multiple records at a time, or execute functions for multiple records at a time. Okay, let's see a quick demo about this. I'm already logged in with my MobileNAV client, so I would like to first show you the quick edit feature. For the quick edit, I have quickly configured the physical inventory journal lines and promoted the physical inventory, the quantity physical inventory to the list as a quick edit field, because that's the only field on the card which is editable. So why not to promote that to the list? As you can see, if I open a card near to the list, then the quick edit icons from the list will disappear. But as soon as I close the card, so there is no card open, then you can see nice pencil buttons on each line. And if I click on one, then the quantity physical inventory editor will come up immediately, and I can enter the value and it will change. So you can see in the second line of the record that it's now 1999. So that's great. But what about modifying multiple records at a time? You can also do that. So if you go to the view settings and multi-select, then the pencils will disappear and you will see checkboxes. So here now you can select multiple fields, and the pencil went down to the toolbar. So the toolbar did change because now I am in a multi-select mode. On the multi-select mode, I can see how many of the records have been selected. So now I have been selected 3. Of course, I can increase or decrease that. And I have a select all and a cancel button to exit multi-select mode or select all records in multi-select. And I can press this quantity physical inventory. And if I press that, and for example, I press 1998, then I can do that. Now the modification quickly went through, and I also do have some indication that the green checkboxes are the ones which were successful modifications, and if I would have some records which has been failed, then I would see them in a reddish color. So this is how multi-selection works, and this is how I can modify multiple records at a time with the multiple edit or the editing on the list view. Okay, let's see the quick action. For the quick action, I have slightly modified the warehouse putaways. So now, if I open up the warehouse putaways header, then I can see the list of the warehouse putaway lines. And on each line, as you can see, there is an extra action button which is for posting. So basically, what I did is that I promoted it's not the posting, so it's the register button. So I have promoted the register button to the warehouse putaway line list. So if I, for example, press the last one here, then I can very quickly register the warehouse putaway lines directly from the header. I don't need to open it up again with the card. But I cannot just do that. I can also use the view settings and multi-select, and I can also, for example, select these 3 from here, and I can, again, just like with the quick edit mode, I can press the register button on these 3, and it has been registered. We keep the view open, so since these records are deleted after registration, of course, those will be deleted from here. If you have just executed some functions, then they can also stay here, and then you will see the feedback for the success or failure of the modification. But in this case, those were deleted, so that's why it's they have disappeared from the list. Okay, and I hope you like it. So that's the general concept. To configure that, it's fairly easy. As I said, you go to the page configuration and enable the quick edit or quick action field for a certain modifiable field or a certain display menu feature like a function or a drill down. Okay, next feature. Open list from list directly. Basically, this has been also requested by partners many times. We didn't judge that it's so important, but now we devote to the line list. This can be interesting on phones or where you only see one column at a time, so then the focus will automatically move to the line list. The second option is to open and scroll on tablets, which is the higher default drill down tablets only feature. So basically that will open the drill down, but it will only scroll on tablets. So on phones, the focus will stay on the header card. And the last option, what is the most interesting to you, is the open list from list directly default drill down behavior, because that will not open the header card, but immediately from the header list, when you select a header item, it will open up the line list with the default drill down list, and as a result, you will have a list open from the list directly. So let me quickly also show this to you. What I did, I have modified the item catalog feature where we have something like the item categories from NAV, like office chair, miscellaneous, and etc. And from there, you can select a certain category and the category items will be displayed. And now I have changed the default drill down behavior to open list from list directly. So if I open up the office chair, instead of seeing the office chair card and then near the catalog items of that category, now we can directly see the catalog items when I select an option here. And the same for if I choose, for example, miscellaneous, I can go back to office chair. So basically, you can with this feature you can get rid of the header card between the two lists. So that's the idea. Okay, next feature. Quantity increase on repeated scanning. That has been also requested by partners many times because that's a normal requirement that if you have barcode scanners and you have barcodes for the items or item cross references, then you at certain stages you want to count. So you want to count and increase the quantity by one or by any increment when you scan the barcode many times. So basically, for that reason, of course, that was possible. So that this feature was possible, but you need to work and you need to configure. So basically, what you had to do before is that you introduce something like a global field, and if you have scanned into that global field, and you can of course match with the item cross-reference number, for example, and if that matched, then you could manually, by the CAL or JavaScript code, you could increase the quantity. With this configuration setting, this is much more easier because all you need to do is specify the field to increase setting for a certain barcodable field. I can also quickly try to show the configuration for this one. So let me just quickly log in. I go to MobileNAV administration, configured pages, and I will go to the warehouse putaways. Warehouse putaway lines. Yeah. And if I scroll down, then you will see that the item number, which is the item number of the warehouse putaway line, will have a Boolean, a field to increase property. So this is a new possibility to configure the field what the MobileNAV client need to increase. So here the system, the add-on will also help you what kind of other fields are there which are able to be used for this feature. As far as I remember, only those fields will be listed here which are flagged with the mobile type quantity. So that's a mandatory thing to specify mobile type quantity for that field which you want to have increased by MobileNAV automatically. Because with that feature, if you enable mobile type quantity, you can also specify the quantity increment, which is 1 by default. That was an elder story, but we have basically implemented this automatic increase through that feature. All you need to do is basically bind the item number, which is what you are basically scan, bind together with the quantity field, which needs to be increased. So that's fairly easy. And let's see the demo for this one. So let me go back to the warehouse putaways. And I have a prepared warehouse putaway here, where as you can see on the second line on the list, there is no quantity to handle selected by now. And sorry about that, but since all of our colleagues are on different locations, I don't have a barcode scanner with me. So, but what I did is that I have a little bit hijacked the header mode barcode reading. So I have a prefix of A and a postfix of B as a header mode barcode reading. So if I type A something B, then it will read a barcode. And for simplicity, I have just configured a very simple barcode for this item number, which is just simply a V. So all I need to do is just press AVB, and then it will scan. So AVB, then I have scanned the item cross-reference number of the item number. And yeah, this warehouse putaway contains staging, so that's because the item number is already green. And on the bin code, I need to confirm the bin code. And you can see that now the quantity handle has been automatically increased. If I scan again, AVB, then the quantity handle is now 2. And of course, I can do this as many times as I wish. So I can fairly easily scan, and the quantity handle will increase. So I hope that this is also a very useful feature for you. This will also give you opportunity to minimize the customization requirements for MobileNAV in the warehouse, for example. Okay, multiple labels. You may already know about our label printing capability, which has been introduced in, I don't remember, 4.9 or 4.10. Yeah, maybe it was 4.9. From that version, we are able to print out printer-specific template-based labels, which can be ZPL or CPCL, basically any kind of format will do. The only restriction is that it has to be a text-based template. So binary format is not processable by MobileNAV, but if that is a text-based template, what the label printer eat basically, then you can configure that template in MobileNAV, and we can print out. What we have introduced in this new release is that we have also introduced a new Joker placeholder for the printing templates, which is this bracket hashtag number of copies, hashtag, etc. So if you place this code into the ZPL or CPCL or any kind of text-based template, then MobileNAV will replace that with the number of copies what the user will specify. I can also show you quickly how it is done. So let me go back to this screen. I already have a modified template here. I just want to quickly show you how it looks like. So I open up a online ZPL viewer. So this is how our template looks like, and on the beginning, as you can see, after this is a ZPL template, and after the XA line, we have introduced this PQ, which is a printing quantity command, and there we have introduced our or included our placeholder, this Joker placeholder, and this will be replaced with the number of copies what you will specify in MobileNAV, and as a result, as you will see, the printer will print it out multiple times the very same label. And I can also show you how it looks like in MobileNAV at the end. So if I go to items and I open up a print label, this printer settings will open up. This is a new UI of MobileNAV client application where you can select your printer. If you have multiple printers, then of course you can select among them. And this is the new feature here, number of copies, which you can specify. I can enter 3 here, and with the don't show again, if you check that, then it will be also remembered as default. So next time you will just press on the print label, it won't bring you up this dialog. It will just simply use this scanner with the number of copies what you have specified here. I don't have the printer with me again with the virus situation, but we have created a nice video for you, and let's see the video. So we have selecting the item. In this case, it will be the Athens desk. You open up the item card, go to the print label, then the UI will come up where you can specify your printer and the number of copies, and you press OK, and the printer will print out 3 times. So that was the video. I hope you like it. Okay, other improvements. Hide all from home menu. Basically, the concept was here not to duplicate each and every menu items, the all menu. Instead of that, we changed the all to other. So basically, all of those menu items which don't have any category in the main menu editor, those will be listed under the other category, but all the others will just only appear in the category where you have specified them. So basically, from now, from version 5.0, the all menu items will disappear. I can also show it to you here. So I have here sales, purchase, inventory, finance, service, manufacturing, and job, and that's also, I don't have the usual all menu option here with duplicating all the menu options once again. Okay, staging. Yes, this was also a nice request from partners because with the staging, it is already very useful. It can fulfill many different scenarios where you have a little bit of workflow, mini workflow over the card before pressing register or post. You want to scan and validate certain things, but they always asked about a possibility to let the user decide whether he wants to scan or manually enter a certain value, because sometimes the barcode is damaged or they don't want to have that much level of restriction that they always need to scan or whatever. But for that reason, we had the mandatory option, but the mandatory option automatically opened up the field for editing. So it was not possible to specify a validation behavior, which just basically makes it mandatory, but does not open the editor of the field. And in case if you want to decide whether you want to scan or manually enter the value, then it's not a nice thing to open the editor up, because there you can still scan there, but it behaves differently from there. So that's why we have introduced a new staging validation behavior, which is the scan or manual entry. I can also show you that how it looks like, because we have already configured that in the warehouse put away staging. So if I go to stages, then you can try to make this wider. So the pin code on the warehouse put away is on scan or manual entry already. And here you can also see the different options. So of course we have scan or manual entry, we have scan or manual entry with change confirm, and we have the scan or manual entry to validate. And each works a very similar way like you used to for scan or mandatory. The mandatory will open it up for editing if that field will be the next one. The scan only allows scanning, and the scan or manual entry is a mixture of the both, but without opening up the field for editing. So that's the configuration, and basically I've already seen this in action, but I just very quickly show it to you again. It was in warehouse putaways, so I just quickly go back. Because if I open this up and scan again, as you can see, the scan or manual entry, I could scan the pin code. It is barcode readable, indicating on the line here, but I can also press on it. It did not open up automatically, so it was not mandatory. So I can open it up, and if I press OK here, then it's basically validated. So so that is working this way. Okay, field control open list. I already talked about it. You can open up lists with certain filtering from field control feature. Filter list on lookup based on another filter. Yeah, that's also a nice request for the partners. I can also try to show it to you on the bin contents. So prior to 5.0, we didn't have any connection between the fields on the filter panel. So if you open up the bin code and you press refresh, you will see all the bin codes here without any location filtering. And it did not matter whether you have set the location code or not. The bin code will open up like this. But from now, if you, for example, select the test location on the location code and you open up the option for the lookup for the bin, then you can see that now the bins are filtered based on the value what you have on the location code as a filter. And if I open up the filter panel here, the location code filter is not even there because it's already filtered by the test location. So that's the feature is about. Okay, and send email with attachment. I have a video about that. What we have introduced is that the ability of sending the generated PDF in email. So now if you press on the preview, you can not just see the PDF, the generated PDF, but you can also send it in email. You can choose the email application what you want, and basically the form will automatically fill out depending on your email client. Of course, you will have the subject by the first line of the card, where you have basically pressed this preview. So that's the first line of the card, and the PDF will be attached as an attachment to the email, and the two field who do you want to send this will be controlled by the mobile type email. We already had mobile type email as a possibility. So if you create a field on either if it's a hidden field, it's possible to flag it with a mobile type email, and this feature will allow the send an email option for you if you have a field like that. Okay, and the sound notification. Basically what we have did is that we have divided the play sound setting into three different option. Basically, previously you could just turn it on or off. So basically, I think it was play sound on modification. That was the option name. And if you have turned that on, then depending on whether it is a successful or failed modification, you got a negative or positive sound. Now you can decide to have this sound on only on errors or successful modifications or message boxes. So you can decide what do you want to have extra sound played during the MobileNAV usage. Okay, and a couple of words about the new configuration handling. we have basically refactored the configuration handling in MobileNAV, and we have introduced the configuration snapshots. The configuration snapshots are basically the configuration XMLs, what you can export and import, but the system, the add-on, will store them for you in different snapshots. So you can basically, when you will take a snapshot, it will be equivalent if you would export the whole configuration out and store that XML somewhere as a snapshot of your configuration. But now you can do this inside the add-on. So you can take as many snapshots as you wish. Though you can take the snapshots, you can load a certain snapshot, load a certain taken snapshot, so you can go back to an earlier version of the configuration. You can export out a snapshot into XML, and you can of course delete the snapshots. The snapshots will be in a tree structure, so basically the add-on will maintain where did you start it from and how the configuration snapshots are nested into each other, and it also give you some possibility to check against the metadata compatibility. So it will not just store the configuration XML, but it will also store something like a metadata checksum. And when you try to load a different snapshot or load a different configuration, it can also check the existing metadata, and if it doesn't match, then it can give you a warning. So, for example, if you have deleted a certain field from your page for some reason, and that configuration still contains that, then you can have a warning for that. So that's about the snapshots. And another feature regarding the configuration handling is the freezing of MobileNAV users. So from version 5.0, you can freeze users from configuration perspective. That means that if you have a frozen user, then that user won't react on any changes in the configuration. So if you make configuration changes, then that user won't have that. And as a result, if you try to change the configuration, I think the add-on will show you something like a warning that you can't do modifications in the configuration because there is a frozen user in the system, and therefore you can't make changes. So that's basically something like a feature for production systems. So if you make a certain configuration version live, then you can freeze the users from configuration perspective, and from that point on, you can be 100% sure that their configuration won't change. And if you try to do certain configuration changes by mistake, then you will be notified about that. So that's the two biggest feature of the configuration handling, and I can also show you the user interface of that. So let me go back to the administration, and I go to configuration handling. So this is the new configuration handling panel. Here you can have options to load a snapshot, take a snapshot, or export a snapshot. With the configuration handling, these were the old options for importing the base configuration, importing a custom configuration, or exporting the base configuration, or export a custom configuration. These are the traditional configuration handling options, but you can have the snapshot management as well. It's not a mandatory thing. You can either use it or not use it. You can decide. But as you can see, I have taken free snapshots, and I have it as something like a tree view, because each and every level is a little bit deeper nested. It also indicates which one is the active one, the last one at the moment. I can also have a dirty flag, so if I would make modifications now, I can also see that compared to this snapshot, the configuration is already dirty, because I have modifications what is not included in this snapshot. I can see that what was the base configuration version, the originating base configuration version, where this configuration is coming from, and whether it was a base configuration or not. So if I, for example, start a new client, and import the base configuration, then you can take a snapshot. I think it will also be automatic. So if you import the base configuration, you will get one snapshot where the base configuration version will be indicated and the base config will be checked. And from there, you can do and start your modifications. So this will also be usable for maintaining your changes. You can also export these out. So if I for example, go to actions, export this snapshot. Okay, not from here, but let's try the CL version. So configuration handling, yeah. So if I export this snapshot to my desktop, this will be one. And I also export this one. Yeah, as you can see, this is basically light speed because this snapshot is basically the XML. So to export out the XML into files, it's really nothing. So I minimize this one. I have this 1 and 2 XMLs here. I put it on my PC to compare them. So I quickly compare them, and from the configuration comparison, I can clearly see what is the difference. So I have here a difference where I have changed the staging for the item number on the warehouse pick, as far as I remember. But it's also visible from there. I have changed the mobile type from quantity to normal, and that's all. So these were the two changes what I have did in this two snapshots. Okay, and last slide. Just a couple of words about AI development, because this comes up from time to time by partners because of the lack of the documentation. So I would just quickly wanted to run through the options when you want to extend the AI version of MobileNAV, what you can do. First option, what you can do is create a new page. That is not a big deal. You can create as many new pages as you wish. This will work the very same way. You create a new page in your AI extension, which is based on MobileNAV, and then the rest of the configuration is very the same. Just before you can configure your fields, etc. So that does not change. The next topic is to create a new field on an existing MobileNAV page. That will be a page extension, so you can also do that. You can specify where do you want to add that new field in the order, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter, because with version 4.9, as far as I remember, we have also introduced the field order. So you can manually change the field order in the configuration, and every newly added field will appear at the end of the list, and you can move up or move down and move to the position where you want to see it. So it doesn't matter. So you can create a new field and use it as a page extension. The rest of the configuration is again same as before. And now the more complicated topics are coming. So what you need to do if you want to create a function button on an existing page. So what do you need to do in that case? For that reason, we have introduced a small feature request back in January with MobileNAV, namely that if you have a function in the configuration and the user is pressing that on the MobileNAV client, the MobileNAV client will also upload the page name and the field name where that button has been pressed. And that has been introduced in January, so theoretically all of your clients has been already updated to that version. And thanks to that feature, you can basically extract the information which page and which field has been pressed by the user. And together with that, we have also extended our base configuration with extra functions. You can see that in this slide that we have extension functions, extension generated blobs, and extension blobs. And all of these are basically extra functions, but we have introduced inside our configuration. So if I go back to our configuration here, and for example, I go to configure pages, and let's select, for example, sales order. Sales order. Why not? So sales order. On the sales order, we have already created a couple of functions which has been configured already. But we have not just allowed this one, but we have also created some extra ones for you, basically for AL development. So if you go and check the list of available options here, then you need to see somewhere. Yeah, there you go. So there is a sales header extension function. That is not being used by the base configuration itself. That is for extensions, basically. So this method is part of the page functions code unit, and as such, you can select that for your extension. And what this sales header extension function can do for you is visible on the slide. Yeah, not on the slide, but I can quickly try to show you. Not here, but on my PC. So I go to page functions. No, this is 2. No. There you go. So if you go to the end of this page functions, then you can see many functions here. Like in this case, we have tracking specification, generated blob functions. We have normal X functions for, and basically we have created that for all the different kind of source tables what we do have as existing functionality or existing feature. So if you basically browse these features here, then you can find the one what is needed for you. And what this does for you is that basically it will fire something like a publisher event. So if the user will press it, then you will get the page name and the field name as the originating page name and field name. And this publisher function, we will pass it to the extension. So if you basically make a subscription for this on item journal line extension function, then you will have the record, what was the underlying record when the user pressed that. You will get the page name and the field name. And as an extra feature, you will have the object functions, which is basically a field control factory. And with the object functions, you can also manipulate the field control return value of that function. So basically, these functions look like a bit bizarre, but basically they can they can be used for extension development, because you can select these extension functions in the configuration and also extend and react on those events and implement your custom thing. Okay, new report. The new report is also a bit problematic, because we had the report functions code unit, which was being registered, and prior to 4.5, we did not allow to manipulate which code unit the MobileNAV client should invoke. So it always search for the function in the MobileNAV report functions. From version 5.6, we have also changed that. So if I go back to my demo environment, I can go to the, for example, customer top 10 report. There you go. And since this is a page type report, I will have something like a report service name, a new option here. And this new option will allow me to select the web service name where the client application should search for that special method, which will basically generate that report. So with that option, we have also enabled the extension development, because you can create your own report functions code unit. There you will create your own method, and you can select this report service name for your custom report, and also implement that. So that's also covered now. And I have already discussed about manipulating the field control, because that's also a very interesting part of MobileNAV configuration. On many different pages, we already have field controls, and sometimes it can be interesting to manipulate them. For that reason, we have introduced two things. You can also see it on the slide on the top. We have an on-calculate field control, which is basically, again, a publisher event. So you can also subscribe to that, and it will be fired. And with the field control factory code unit, with the MobileNAV object functions, you can add extra field controls, or even you can also reset the actual field control and do your custom field control commands. And with the get field control factory, you can also get the MobileNAV object functions code unit instance from your page extension, because you can invoke that on the base page, and you can get the field control factory and invoke the field control features through that. So with these two methods, like the publisher event and the get field control factory call, you can manipulate already existing pages from field control perspective as well. So I think basically we have covered all the different kind of AL development challenges. And if you still have questions, then of course don't hesitate to write us. I'm planning to hold a webinar about these special topics, and there we will do these different scenarios in action. So together we will develop smaller AL extensions over MobileNAV based configuration, and there you will also see this in action. So from my perspective, I'm finished, and thank you very much for listening.